is Girl Stop Playing, and I'm your favorite homegirl, Coriel, here to encourage you to stop playing with your potential and start working for what you want in life and in love. You already know that I'm bringing you the information and the conversations to help you make the money and get the honey. You can have it all as long as you are willing to work. Now, before we get into today's episode, please show your girl some love by liking this video, making sure that you are subscribed to the channel. You could just hit pause right now if you need to go click the subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any of our shows that are coming to the channel. All right? So I'm going to allow my guests to introduce themselves because y'all know it's so important for us to put some respect on people's names. So welcome to the studio, ladies. I'm going to have you give yourselves a proper introduction.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. So I'm Kelly Fisher, one half of the Matchmaking Duo. I'm a certified relationship coach and professional matchmaker.
Yeah, I am Tana Gilmore, the other half of the Matchmaking Duo, also a certified life and relationship coach and professional matchmaker.
Y'all, we got some matchmakers in the building. So I was literally just on Instagram Live a little while ago talking about the fact that this is my first time having matchmakers on the show. And really only like the second time that I can remember actually talking to like legit matchmakers. Most people in the space are relationship coaches, but they're not like setting people up.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So quick history. When I got my start way, like literally a decade ago, I had a business called the Single Wives Club. And it was single women preparing to become wives. It was straight education, though. It was, how do you become a better woman before becoming a wife?
Oh, that's important.
What did they want me to do? They were like, cut all of that.
Find the man.
Where's the man? Bring the man to my door. Sis, I didn't have the man for you, but these ladies do. And so I'm excited to have an actual resource that we can not only share, but like talk about what is going on out here in these streets, and you know what we can do to solve some of the single struggles that we're having, because a large percentage of my audience is single women. They're in that space where they are, you know, in what I call settling season, right? Because they're out of college, they're in their careers, they've started to check the things off of their list, they've done what society has told them to do,
Right.
but that one piece that they cannot make happen, because a lot of the other things that you check off the list, you're in control of them, right? If you want your career, you know, you want your degree, you're going to study real hard. You want to climb the career, you're going to work your way to the top. You want to buy the house, you're going to get your finances together. But when it comes to that man and marriage, you can't make that happen. And that is a challenge for a lot of people. So I want to go back, though, before the matchmaking. What were you all doing prior to becoming the matchmaking duo?
That's a good question.
Yeah, it is. Actually, we were senior executives for marketing and advertising, like in that space together. Yeah, we've been friends for a long time, like well over 20 years. We used to work together side by side in corporate America for, you know, many years. And so we always say we used to market products and services. Now we market people.
Yes, still very similar, right?
Yeah, we
Right?
didn't realize it until we got
Skills.
into it. So even talking about starting a business, you're like, well, how is this going to transfer? Then once we leapt into it, we just took the leap and everything. We were like, wow, it's amazing. The things that we were doing before, we can market and advertise.
So what would you say was like your girl stop playing moment when you were like in your career and one of you, I don't know who, was like, girl, we need to stop playing and we need to do this thing? Like, what was that moment? Can you take us back there?
That's a good question. So I think, you know, we were traveling together and both of us were having, I mean, as women do, we were closing deals, doing all kinds of things. She would go back to her hotel room. I would go back to mine. We'd start again the next day. But then one day we went out for dinner. I don't know what state we were in. And we just started crying and carrying on about our own relationship issues. You know, we were both married at the time and we just could not get it right. And, you know, Tana will mention it in our book, Relationship Do-Overs, that her marriage, they separated and got back together. My marriage ended up in divorce. I had to make a really difficult decision. But I think at that point, and then we realized that even through all of our challenges, we were coaching other people. You know, people saw our journey of how we, you know, got through our relationship challenges and, you know, coaching other people. And they were like, okay, wow, you all have really made a huge turn. How did you do it?
So, you know what, even in the boardroom, right? So we were traveling Monday through Thursday. That's probably one of the reasons why our marriages were in shambles. We were gone. We weren't home. So we were gone from Monday through Thursday. And, you know, we found ourselves like in the boardroom, like Kelly said, closing $1 million deals. And when at the end of the meeting, the CEOs and the CFOs, they would have us like hemmed up in the corner telling us their relationship issues. Like, we were like, we are pretty good at this.
Yeah.
Girl, let's stop playing and let's just do this, right?
Yes.
Let's just stop playing and do this. And we left and we got certified. We went back to school, got credentialed, certified, and took this seriously. And our situation was very much like yours. Like, we became coaches first, certified coaches first. And then they were like, well, where's the man? Where's my man?
Yeah.
We were like, you know what? So, let's evaluate this. Let's add this component to our business. And so we flew to New York. We got certified, through the Matchmaking Institute at the time. And the rest is history.
Yeah.
Rest is history.
Wow. Okay. So I was not expecting that was the origin story, because so many matchmakers are either from the outside looking in, because I don't know people's personal business, right? But in my opinion, what I thought is so many people have such great relationships that they have this, this treasure chest of wisdom to pull from to be able to teach other people. Y'all had that experience, but you were almost on the other side of it, where I'm going to teach people how not to do what I did, or how to avoid some of the mistakes that I made, or now I know how to make a stronger marriage based on my own situation. So I think that's kind of unique, that it's like we're married, but we're not happily married.
Right. And I don't know about you, but I don't take advice from people who don't admit that they have some problems. So if you're going to somebody who is saying that everything is perfect, that's probably not somebody that I would.
Red flag.
Yeah, red flag for sure, right? And I'm thinking, too, of like how you mentioned a lot of times when mostly women come to us as clients, I don't care, we're based in Atlanta, but I don't care where it is in the country. They're like, you know what? What's the problem? The problem is I can't find a man. But it's really more than that. It's more than that, and we can probably get into that later. But
we shall.
I don't care if it's Iowa, California, D.C. There are plenty of men, but sometimes it's just that we haven't had the teachings.
Sometimes it's
Sometimes
the point
the
of
problem is
attraction.
useless.
Sometimes it's
Sometimes
the
the problem
point
is
of
useless.
attraction.
It
Yes.
is.
Because the same city that y'all are complaining about, I know several women, me being one of them, that found a husband here. And even before finding my husband, I've met great men in Atlanta
There are
that
great
were
men in Atlanta.
straight,
Yes.
that were childless,
Absolutely.
that
had careers.
had careers.
Yes.
I've
That's
met
a
these
myth.
men. It is
That's a
definitely,
myth.
it's definitely a myth, and it's a defense mechanism. It's like something's wrong with y'all. That's why I don't have somebody. It can't possibly
Well,
be
some
me.
self-reflection too, because then you would have to admit, well, maybe there is an issue with me.
Something I need to
so
work
maybe
on.
you need to delve a little deeper to find out what the issue could really be. And sometimes it's very difficult to make that decision to
For
do
sure.
that.
Most
you know
of
what
the
I mean?
time it's difficult.
Yeah.
Nobody wants like the spotlight on them to expose like your issues. But the fact is, and I mean, the therapist will tell you, right? When you're in these revolving door relationships and you don't ever like get off the ride to go get some help or sort through your issues or figure out what's what, and then you're wondering why everybody who gets on the ride is same result, it's like, sis, you're the common denominator,
And
but you're
sometimes
not
we're
willing to
looking
have
for
these
the
talks.
perfect man, and we have to tell people too. And I had to come to this realization: like, I'm not perfect. So it's like our family, our friends, girl, he's got this, he's got that. But nobody's perfect. And guess what? Neither are you.
You're not perfect. Nobody's perfect.
Right.
And then two, sometimes we do stay in relationships based on other people's perceptions. So he looks like he's perfect, so I'm going to stay here because everybody thinks I should just be so lucky and happy that I got this. So let me just stay stuck.
And let me just hold on to it.
Let me just hold on to it. At what point in the business, the lifespan of the business, did you get a divorce?
I got a divorce actually before we even opened our doors.
Okay.
So can you imagine trying to go into business, a divorce, actually single mom at the time.
Gotcha.
So, but I had been giving advice to so many people, and I supported Tana's relationship too, and she wrote that in the book too. That when they were married and getting separated. So I was like, you know what? I have a lot of wisdom. So I mean, even to encourage other people that not to let your own circumstances keep you from sharing the wisdom that you have,
or like succumbing to imposter syndrome, because imposter syndrome would have crept up and said, who are you to be able to talk about XYZ? How are you qualified?
Exactly.
But I'm all about learning from people who have learned the lesson.
Exactly.
Correct.
I don't want to your point, I don't want to learn from somebody who's never made a mistake.
Right.
Because how do you recover from that? It's cool when it's all going well.
Yeah.
But when you have to pull yourself back up and do it again and figure it out, then I think that's when you really see what you're made of. So I love that y'all have like a variety of personal experience, and then you've been able to help other people, obviously, as well. I do think that, as we mentioned, as we've all kind of said, people think the issue is just where the men at. There's no men.
Right.
what are you going to do when you get in front of that man? It's my question.
So that is the question. That is the question. And here's the thing with that. Like, you got to have something to talk about, right? You can't, oftentimes, you know, our sisters, they have spent the majority of their life like climbing the corporate ladder, doing what we were told to do culturally, right? Because again, our parents told us back in the day to, you know, go to school, books before boys, get your education, get your advanced education, climb the corporate ladder or whatever it is, and you know the man will find you later. That doesn't work anymore, right? The trend tells us that doesn't happen. So you look over and roll over and there's nobody there. So now what, right? But only thing that they've been doing for the last 10, 12 years is school and work. So they don't really have anything else to talk about.
They're like this isn't a thing. Don't tell me it's not a thing because I'm telling you it's not a thing. They're like relationally illiterate. Like they're so far removed. I mean, some of these women will literally say like, I haven't dated in 10 years. And it's like, you don't even know how to operate in a relationship anymore. Not even get into the relationship. You're awkward when you're meeting somebody. Like you don't even know how to engage in a conversation because you're so far removed, and you've replaced relationships with books. You've replaced relationships with college. You've replaced relationships with work. I'm gonna go back and get another degree. I'm gonna just go, you know, you're filling your time with all of these things because you're really trying to fill this void that you don't even want to admit.
You don't even want to go there, right? Yes.
So I imagine when people are investing in love, because y'all are not out here doing this for free, right?
No, ma'am.
Nowhere near free.
No, ma'am.
Nowhere near free.
Okay? No, ma'am.
So I imagine, and I want y'all to tell me about the clients that you're getting, because in my mind, a woman, and I know you said majority women, a woman who is willing to spend her money, invest her time, really put herself out there almost, right? Because this is a vulnerable thing to say, girl, I ain't been able to figure it out. Like, what, please help me.
Right.
So to be able to be willing to put yourself in that position, I imagine these women are willing to do the work.
They are, and we're pretty selective at this point. We've been in this for 10 years, so we know what works. So it's usually the women that are like, you know what?
Oh, absolutely.
Because a lot of times it's like, hey, I just, like you said, I need a man, and you're not willing to do the work to find him, attract him, and keep him, then what are we doing? You know,
we're wasting our time.
We're wasting our time.
My thing was always like, I don't even want the money that bad, because you're gonna get on my nerves. Right. You're not gonna be a success story. Like, it's not even worth it.
The whole time, and we work on referrals, so you know, we don't even go there.
We don't even want your referral. Like, please stop.
No, but it's usually the ones that are saying, you know what, I just can't get it right. I don't care how much money I make. I don't care how successful I am. A lot of them say, I'll trade in my success to find a loving relationship.
And I think it's like later in life we start evaluating, like, what have I invested my time in?
Right.
Like, what have I prioritized? And y'all know I like to say this. Rest in peace, Kevin Samuels. He tried to tell y'all. He tried to tell you in a not so nice way, but he was trying to tell us to prioritize what we truly want versus what society has told us to go after. Which, to your point, is climb the corporate ladder, purchase your first home, you know, do all of these things that you check off the list, and we never say prepare for a relationship. No. We wait until we're 35, and then we ask women, well, where your man at? Why are you still single?
Well, you know, the problem, what happens is that, you know, the pool gets a little smaller, right? The pie gets smaller over the years. The older we get, and this is reality, ladies. It's just reality. So the pie gets a little smaller, and so and we always say that, you know, when you're in college, like, that's prime. That's prime, because here's the thing, like, that's the most concentrated place where everybody's kind of rowing the same way. Everybody has the same end goal, right? You're there for a reason. And so once you disperse college, you're in the abyss. You're in the sea of the abyss with everybody else, right? So, and you know, may the best woman win.
And it's hard.
Yeah.
I consciously remember having a conversation the year after I graduated and moved to Atlanta with one of my line sisters, and we're just like, well, what did we do? Where all the men at?
They were
we
at
just
college.
left Tennessee State University at HBCU with nothing but beautiful black men.
Yeah,
we did not know what we had.
No.
You know why we didn't know what we had, though? Because we, as mothers, are not teaching our black girls the same thing the white moms are teaching. They're telling them, don't you just, if all you leave college with is a degree, you did it wrong.
Right.
Our parents are telling us, no, don't spend no time, don't get distracted, don't spend, you know, like, it's a totally different message, and then we're getting totally different results and wondering why.
Yeah.
That's so true. I mean, I think when you think about it, though, the way that we're taught, it's almost like, okay, you can get a career, you can get this degree, you can do this, and that's like finite. You know how that goes. But love is a journey. Nobody teaches us it's okay to go on a journey. It's okay to love. It's okay to show your personality. It's okay to be vulnerable. Nobody acts like that is something that's valuable.
Yeah.
So it's okay to do it simultaneously also because other ethnicities, they come out with a degree and a fiance or a husband. We come out with a degree and some student loans.
And a bad attitude about what we got. And you better respect this degree. And it's like this. I mean, there's all of these conversations about, this high value this and high value that and high earning women and all of these things. And I do feel like we didn't do it to ourselves, right? We didn't just all decide that we're going to prioritize these degrees. It's obviously a community thing, right? A cultural thing.
It's a cultural thing. Yeah.
So yes to that, but however, the personal responsibility part of it is like, okay, at some point though, you have to realize that the man you actually want is not interested in your money. The man you actually want does not care about that degree. Not that he doesn't care about it, but that's not what he's focused on or worried about. That's not what's going to raise his children.
Exactly. We're taught that our value is in our career and our money as women. And our value, as we teach in our date coaching, is our value is what do you bring after 5? After 5 p.m. when the job is closed and you're just sitting on the couch with him, where's your value then? What conversation do you have? How fun are you? When is he saying, ooh, I can't wait to talk to Coriel. I haven't talked to her for a couple
Are
days.
you even fun? Do you smile?
Right.
Are you fun to be around?
Right. Do you enjoy each other's company? Like all of that. All of that.
The common sense that, because we got all these degrees and all these accomplishments, but the lack of common sense when it comes to dating is just like, how come?
It's not so common.
It's not common at all. There's no logic. It's all feelings. I feel like he should just take me as I am. Why would he do that?
He doesn't have to.
He does not have to.
He doesn't have to. And it's sometimes it's so difficult to even hear it and say it because it's almost like, well, why shouldn't he? And that's what we've been taught all these years. But you know what? They have so many options right now. Let's just deal with the numbers. Let's deal with reality. There's so many other options
and logic.
They don't have to.
If you want this man, whatever this is for you, whatever this is, if you want that, but you are this. Why would this want to settle for that?
But they don't know that they're this. You're this if you don't have any conversation. You're this if you're not fun. You're this if you're not well put together. You're this if you're not active and
are y'all
health
telling
conscious.
these people this?
Yes,
okay, so tell me your process.
Ma'am. So I think that we're doing a disservice to our friends and our sisters, right? Because I think that I think it's important for us to build each other up, right? But sometimes we do it so much that it's unrealistic. Right. And so I think that we're like, girl, I remember having a conversation, and Kelly and I laugh about this all the time. Somebody was saying, oh, girl, you're better than Beyonce. I'm like, stop telling her that because she is not. She is not. No, the truth is, lying, no, listen, the truth is she is not. No, not today, not tomorrow, and not next week. And so here it is. Let's just be real with who we are and what we actually bring, so we can have realistic expectations instead of the unrealistic ones that we've been having all this time. Because that's what it is. We have so many clients that come through and they have this long list of what they want, right? And sometimes we're just looking at them like, sis, it's not gonna happen.
How do you say that to someone? Because that was always my thing. I am non-confrontational. I don't want to hurt your feelings.
No, we don't either.
Well, no, we only start with, like we said, with clients who are ready to make some changes.
But how do you know that they're ready to accept? Like, I can come to you and really think that I'm ready. But then you tell me, well, girl, you need to cut your hair. You need to... Something y'all tell me that it's hard for me to accept, and I curse you out. Then I'm not as ready as I thought I would. Like, what's your process to really see? Are you really going to listen to us? Because if people don't listen, then they're not going to get the results.
Yeah, well, we start with an initial strategy session. So that's an hour where we're just talking and seeing, how the person is talking about their past challenges. If it was always him, if it's just, I can't find someone else. If they don't mention, and hey, we're giving you the inside scoop, because if they don't ever mention that there's something that they did or there's something they can't get right, or they can't see the pattern by the time we start talking, that they are serial first daters. You can't get past the first date. There's a challenge on your end too. So usually we discover that and we give them a little bit of feedback. If they take the feedback well on the first hour and they're like, you know what, I understand. Or if it's like, you know what, and they come back every time we give them feedback and they come back and say something, no, but it has to be this, no, but it's probably not a good fit because we can't be challenging you. You're the one who's saying that you're not
and you can't
able to move forward.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Right. Because whatever you were doing wasn't working. So here we are. Yeah. Right. And so I think that it's important for us, even during our time together, there may be a time where we have to give some tough feedback. We have to give some tough feedback.
It starts with trust too, though.
It does.
I mean, they have to trust us.
Yeah,
and we have to build
does.
a trusting relationship before. Because, you're even when you give advice to girlfriends, it's more when you have a deeper trusting relationship than someone you just met.
Can they handle it? Can they receive it?
Right.
And so sometimes it's like, and sometimes I'll preface it because I'll say, hey, this is out of love, right? And this is everything in the name of love.
Yeah. And we're
right?
here to help you.
We're here to help you move forward. But I'm giving you this feedback because I think it'll be helpful for you. So just take it, listen, and if you have questions, then we can talk about it.
What's the hardest feedback you've had to give? The most uncomfortable?
That's all in the days.
Oh my God!
Every day you're gonna.
Yeah.
I'd say every week
yes.
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure, there's some tough feedback.
More that their personality isn't what it needs to be, so we work on conversation
you
topics.
You're dry. I think you're a little dry.
You're just
oh
yeah.
Yeah.
What we say is, what
I'm
we
not
say.
the right woman for this job.
What we say is
cracking
your
up.
experience in dating is not memorable.
It's not.
And it's not.
No, it's not.
So if nobody's calling you, this person's ghosting me, I didn't hear back from this person, and it just keeps on going. Sis, your experience on a date is not memorable, so we need to work on that.
No, it isn't. No.
And it's just not. So there are things that we can do. We can help you with conversation topics. We can help you with hobbies. We can help you, talk about things that you love. Because when you think about it, everybody at this point, we talk about our unique selling proposition, like what makes you different. Everybody is at one point likes to go out to eat. Everybody likes music. Everybody likes to travel. Now what?
Yeah, all your friends. So how are you different than the cluster of the friends that you hang out with, that you spend time with, right? So when you go out, and how are you different? Why should he choose you in this cluster? And all are kind of, looking the same way,
that's
right?
Good, because you think about like the whole world. Like, why would you get selected out of all the women in the world? But just think about your friend group.
No.
Right.
If you and your 5 single friends are out together, what makes you stand out amongst?
And that's what we work on.
Yeah, we work on that during coaching.
Yeah.
Pause the video right now. Pause the video. And you got to take a moment of self-reflection, okay? A moment of silence, because you just said something right there.
Yeah.
You can't even, and we don't like to think of it as competing, but it's a competition.
It is a competition.
right?
No, it
if
is.
you
right?
can't even compete amongst your friends,
Right.
Yeah.
It's a whole wide world out here.
And and guess what? It's enough out there, and you can all support each other because the right person will be attracted to you.
That
part. So, it is a competition, but it isn't, because your person is for you. And so,
But you have to be competitive.
You
That's
do,
the thing. Like,
right? And you
it is-
assertive, right?
part.
Because if
You can't just sit on the
no,
sideline
you
thinking
cannot.
somebody gonna
And
scoop you
so
up.
we always say, if you're in a cluster somewhere, break away. Break away, give some eye contact, walk past them on the way to the ladies' room, or whatever it is. Give
y'all
them a
teaching
compliment.
flirting too?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
We
We
do
have
all
flirting,
types of flirting
the
techniques.
art of flirting, ma'am.
Yes.
The art of flirting.
Do you
We
give?
teach you how. We have a program, the attraction magnet. How to become an attraction
Is it like the art of
magnet.
seduction type of vibe,
Similar.
Similar to that, but it's more
Yeah.
hands-on. I mean,
Okay.
really having
Like
you role
practical.
play.
Yeah, very
Okay.
practical.
I love that. So you do. So outside of matchmaking, like your matchmaking clients, what are other resources that you provide? Classes, like can anybody just log on and take these classes?
Yeah, so the exciting thing is we just started Modern Dating Academy. So this is
okay.
just a membership subscription. So a lot of clients, as you mentioned, it takes a lot of money and investment and time to work with us one-on-one. So we started a group community, Modern Dating Academy, where we get together with a group of women who are all just ready to date and do some things differently. And they support each other, and we work with them live twice a month, and we put videos on there and everything, so that they can find
So you
on
got
our
something
website.
for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. We also have for the people that are wanting to be certified coaches and matchmakers. We have our own school, Love Pro University, right?
Nice.
So
Okay. Okay.
so we're teaching them how to do what we do. We're cloning ourselves. if
What
you
is
will.
something that people should know before getting into the space? Like, what was something that you wish somebody would have told you or warned you about?
It just depends on the demographic that you're trying to service.
Black
right? Black women. Just be prepared to deal with many personalities, right? Many different personalities. Be prepared for that. Be prepared for the emotional journey that comes along with it. So many different things.
Yeah, I think also just knowing that it's cultural. I think sometimes we beat each other up, but like you mentioned, it's usually our ancestors, our elders who said, no, go get an education. And really going out to date, there are skills associated with that. There's skills associated with dating, there's skills associated with being in a relationship, with being a girlfriend, a wife. a mom, and it
a
needs
lot
to be
of,
learned.
listen, a lot of
Absolutely.
skills,
Yes.
things that we don't. So that was my whole thing with the Single Wives Club. There was literally zero resources for single women.
Yes.
You can find premarital counseling once you're already
Sure, right.
engaged,
Sure.
but for a
Right.
single woman who's
there's
teaching
nothing.
you,
And
who's preparing you.
And so there's nothing in school academically either, right? And so
home ec is gone.
It is,
That was,
right?
that was the closest thing we had.
We used to do, and sometimes we still do. We do a tour in the
College tour.
college tour in the fall and then in the spring. Relationship readiness,
That's a
right?
thing.
Because it's not taught.
Not in our community.
It's not taught, no. And so it's so important to really look, social media presence, what does that look like? Your mannerisms, how to, flirt, all those types of things. Again, we weren't taught. Yet, we have our grandparents and our great-grandparents that had 10, 12 kids, right? And nobody talked about how they got here, what they did to
But
keep
stay away from
them.
them boys.
Right.
That was all we heard. Stay away from them boys, but then, baby, where your husband at?
Right,
Where your
exactly.
husband at?
No.
The math is not math, and it is not.
No,
at all.
no,
It's a
they didn't talk
process.
about it.
It's a
They didn't talk
process.
about it in our culture.
Yep.
But yet we would see, all these
Everybody
kids
got
running
babies.
around.
Everybody got babies,
Right.
but there's no man in sight.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. And we
Hello,
want to
like-
promote more love and more
Yes.
relationships.
Families. I'm
Families.
all about
Yes.
families.
And even when there were husbands and dads and stuff like that, they didn't even talk about like sex.
No.
Talk about like how these kids get here. How do you maintain this relationship going forward? How do you work through it? If you talk to your friends and you say, "Well, what did you see with your grandparents growing up?" They'll say, "I saw my grandma at home sometimes or my grandfather, but I never really saw them touch. I
Separate
never saw.
bedrooms.
Yeah, they had separate rooms. I never really saw. We had dinner together. I would have dinner over there. We would have fun at our grandparents' house, but I never really seen, even our parents, I never really seen any physical interaction.
Or I
Which is
never
not
saw
talked
them
about.
have fun. I think that we have
Yes.
such a warped vision of what marriage is because it's like prison to a lot of people. It's
Right.
like my
Yeah.
grandparents,
Yeah.
they were married, but they didn't like each other. They
Yeah.
always
But
had an
they just
attitude.
coming to give each other a
Yeah, it was
hug,
like they were
right.
just passing in the
Yes.
hall.
Two
You know,
people
they were
passing
just
in the night.
the days
Yeah.
were just going by. They were together, but
Yes.
they weren't
Yeah.
enjoying
They
each
didn't,
other.
They didn't like each other.
They didn't like each other.
Right.
So then we
They-
get into relationship and we feel like I'm supposed to have this attitude with my man. I'm not really supposed to
Yeah.
like you. I'm supposed to talk to you crazy because that's all we've seen.
Right.
It's like,
Or just that we're the prize just by sitting here. We've had clients go out on dates and we're like, okay, did you have a good time? Well, I smiled. I was looking cute.
Girl, that's not
more.
enough.
Yeah,
that's
that's
not
not
enough.
enough.
It's not enough, sis.
It's not
at
enough.
all.
No, it's not gonna
'Cause
keep
he had a
him.
date right before you and she
Yeah.
went above and beyond. And
Oh
you
my
wonder
God.
why he didn't call you
She
back.
was
Right.
texting him back. She was giving him.
She was flirting. She gave him
She
a little
was,
shoulder.
exactly.
Yes.
She
And
gave
she
him
gave some feedback.
she
She was
did.
like, "Ooh, you look so handsome today."
I can't
he's
wait
like,
to talk
or
to
did
you
you
later.
actually say something
Yes.
nice to him?
Right.
You know,
And that's so
What is
important.
that? What
Here's
is
the-
that?
and
That
that's
we
so
can't even bring
important.
ourselves to like
Because
give a compliment.
again, we keep going back to the culture because we were taught that you don't give too much too soon, right? Sit back, let them court you, let them chase you, let them hunt you. Right now, but the trends are different.
We got to give him something.
We got to
to
give
hunt.
them
Come on,
something.
you
Yeah,
gotta throw a
Okay,
little,
right.
Give them
little
show a little knee, show a little shoulders, give them a little shimmy, something,
right?
Get a man
Right.
something.
Yeah,
Okay,
something.
he gotta
Give
hold
him-
on to something.
Give them something to want to make that emotional investment
That
in
part,
you.
But
and
the
not
good-
just you being a good person that feels like you deserve
Right,
something. And he don't even know you.
Because
He don't know
your
what you
parents are
deserve.
the only ones that feel like that about you.
Well, yeah, and that.
I want to come sit in on some of these meetings. So y'all
Well,
are
you
fun.
need to.
Y'all are fun.
You
men.
need to,
Okay,
yes.
I can only imagine.
Yes.
To your point though about dating being like a process, this is literally it takes practice.
It does.
It takes like you really being intentional about it. I had a conversation with a mom who her daughter's in high school now, and she said her rule in her house is that her daughter has to date. And I thought,
Wow.
that is profound. That is like
I love
My.
it.
because in
I
our
love
community,
it.
it's like your
I
mama
love
is
it.
praying, don't bring no boys over here.
Please.
Don't,
I'm
you know,
telling
you don't even know what
then
to
they're
do.
grilling them at the door too.
And then
Yeah.
grilling, but she
Yeah.
wants to be a part of this process. She wants to teach her
That is
what to
awesome.
do, what not to do. When it doesn't work out, how are you going to respond? When you know, and I just thought that was
Kudos
like,
to her.
right?
Kudos, because you know who else is doing that?
Them white ladies, them white
Absolutely.
mamas.
Yeah, white mamas are doing
They
that.
are.
They are, and that's why these girls they're more open and they're more free and they're more expressive
And
when
they're
you
like
go out.
nice.
Yeah. Oh, very
You know,
nice.
and not even
Very-
because
very
they
nice.
are just genuinely nice people, but their mothers have talked to them.
Yeah,
they
they've
have,
been
and they've
groomed that
encouraged
way,
it.
They've
right?
been groomed.
They've been groomed
They've
that
encouraged
way,
it, too.
right?
And so when we start talking about the concept of raising our daughters to be wives, that is like
It
frowned
is.
upon.
I love that about that mom. Kudos to her.
Right?
Love that.
Yeah.
Because if we are not, as the mother, teaching our daughters who is nobody, and then we get the results that
they're
we're
friends. They're hearsay from their girlfriends, right?
From the mama who don't know what she's doing either.
Exactly.
Instagram. All that they're learning elsewhere. Let them learn from home. But the problem is, so where did you learn from?
That part,
right? You got to meet them where they are, because not every parent is educated in that space. Also, they've been making poor decisions and poor choices. Also,
yeah. But I think too, as a mother of 3 daughters, like I have seen the difference. I have 3 daughters. Oof. Yes, and so just the difference in the times, and I see they grew up mostly in predominantly white schools, and when they go and the friends have a boy over or whatever, it's just like, oh, Johnny's here. We're going to go on vacation. We're doing that. When now, usually for Black families, it's like, oh, Johnny's here. He can go out on the door.
On the porch.
They can sit on the porch and we're going to stare at you. You can't even have a conversation. But it's all embraced in other ethnicities. And I think as parents, like you said, we need to embrace love. It's valuable.
It's not going anywhere.
No.
And ideally, you want I don't think there's any parent who says, I don't want my child to grow up and get married.
A lot of times they don't. No, they don't. They don't. Because we just had a client even last week. She said, I brought somebody home and I was hoping that my dad would, embrace him. And he was like, well, there's nobody that I like from my daughter. Now, what are we doing with that? Why are we saying that, though? Come on.
Yeah,
why are we saying that? And you have a whole wife.
Because you're going to pass on eventually, sir.
Exactly.
And then the no good enough man is going to be left to try to take care of your daughter.
Exactly. So we got to move with the times, for sure.
Yeah, because they certainly changed.
Yeah, but one thing I wanted to mention, too, because we were talking about, all the different things that women need to do and all that. But so, yes, women need to do that to be chosen, and they hate to hear that. So we'll probably get all types of flack, but it's the truth. Right. Yeah, they'll be okay. But the reason that we say that is because after that, you do the choosing. And so I think that's the part that we don't talk about often. So once you've shown him how fun you are, how flirty and all of that, then if he doesn't, if you don't want to go forward with him, you can say, you know what? I don't think I'm going to move forward with this.
Yeah, because
you get to make the choice.
Yeah, because what's here is that when you sit back and you subscribe to that, well, let me just kind of wait and see who approaches me, because then I'll know he likes me. Well, then again, sis, you're dealing with a small piece here, and then again, he's the one that's choosing. You don't have a choice in it. So you go out. We encourage and empower our clients to go out and choose who you want.
What does that look like?
Oh gosh! So
it looks like at least going up to somebody, smiling, and saying hello,
giving them a compliment at least. Yeah. So we empower them and give them, soft skills. It's the soft skills that sometimes we don't have, and so we're giving them, we're coaching them with those, and they're giving them compliments and they're saying hello. They're being flirty. They're being engaged with them. They're present. Right?
And don't be afraid to ask for the phone number. I'd love to keep in touch.
Yeah.
Why are we letting this man go out of the store or the grocery store and you're like, oh, he was fine. Let me come back tomorrow at 5. Maybe he'll be here.
He's not going to be there.
He's gone.
No. Stop playing.
He's gone. So just go on ahead and just say, you know what? I am really enjoying this conversation. I would love to keep in touch. Yes.
I'd love to continue this later.
Create your own opportunity.
Yeah. Girl, I'm glad I'm not in these streets anymore, because
they love it too.
I would be like, ooh.
The men love it.
They do. They love it. And they come back to us and they were like, it feels so good when they give us feedback, and it's so good when they text me first or they call me first. It feels so good because they're used to being the ones that men get rejected all the time, right? They've been rejected since they've been a little boy, when they've been trying to go to school and give that little girl peanuts, and she's like, I don't want it. Right, exactly. Right. She's like, I can't have that. My daddy said no. All of this, right? They've been rejected for so long, so it's nice and refreshing when you approach him and he's like, oh, that felt good.
That's what I think.
That's the trend now.
In thinking about even finding it weird being nice to a man. It's like back to elementary school. Like you're mean to the one that you really like. We never were taught how to work through that. Like how to feel those emotions and not run in the opposite direction, or not feel those emotions and lash out at you because I don't know what to do with those emotions. We're never taught how to deal with emotions, how to emotional intelligence, all of the things, those soft skills.
Yeah, the soft skills.
Where are they?
We say there's a difference between being assertive and aggressive. You can be assertive. It's okay, because they love it. And then once you're assertive and let him know that you're interested, he'll take the baton and he'll take over from there.
How do you all deal, or what's your recommendation in terms of dating apps?
Oh, I love dating apps. I do. I love dating apps because, again, you have to think about the pulse and the culture of dating right now. Where else are you going to find hundreds and thousands of singles? Right here.
In the palm of your hand.
Right here. Without leaving this sofa. right?
Especially if you're not going to say hello when you go out.
Exactly. If you're not going to do anything,
you gotta say
where we go somewhere.
right here. So we love them. Just be careful with them, because we found amazing people on apps. We have friends that I met my husband on. Well, it wasn't an app back then, but we've been married going on 21 years this year. But we met on. Thank you. We met online like 20 some years ago. So
what they had 20 years ago?
Black
What was
Planet.
it?
That was
Black Planet. Yeah, and I slid into
We got
his
a Black
inbox.
Planet love story over here. Wow.
Yes.
And you slid in his mess.
I
Where were they?
did.
They weren't DMs.
I
Them. I don't
did.
even
No,
know. His inbox.
inbox or email, whatever it was.
Wow.
Back then.
profile, whatever it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He had on a
Interesting.
suit, and he had his,
I know that stood out on Black
emblems. And I
Planet
was
with
like,
the suit.
yeah, he had on a suit, and he had big shoulders and big arms. I was like, yes.
You look
Yes.
like you still like your husband.
Well, I love my husband. Not only do I love him, I like him. We just came back from Mexico 2 days ago.
Y'all are friends.
We are really good friends. We enjoy each other's company.
So,
We have drinks every night.
but y'all split at one point.
We did for 2.5 years.
Tell me about that. Because where was the friendship at that point? Like, what led to the split? Because I just can't wrap my mind around.
Great question. So we have been friends for a very long time. Even so, before the separation, we separated in 2008, and we got back together in the top of 2011. So we had a little time apart. But what led to the separation was finances. These wayward children. We're a blended family.
Okay.
So you combine all of that together. There was some infidelity on both parts in there. So there was a lot of things going on. So we agreed to separate for a little bit. And then it was me who decided to initiate to get back together. Right? He
Really?
wasn't feeling it. He didn't
Really?
want to. I was mortified. I was like, I'm going to just go ahead and give him a little break, and I'm going to just do my thing.
So whose idea was the break?
It was mine.
It was your idea. Sis said, I'm ready to come back.
Yes.
And
He was like,
"No,
I'm
ma'am."
done. He was like, no, listen, it's so funny because I was like, listen, I said, I think we should get back together. And he was like, yeah, I'm good. And I was like, and then he said, I'll think about it. I called Kelly years ago. He said he'll think about it.
I was like,
what?
girl, he said he'll think about it. Wow.
Yes, he did.
Now, what was
Yeah.
your next move?
I had to
You had to give him something to think about.
Well, I did. But I had to sit there for a minute and absorb that, because why is he thinking about it? As a strong Black woman of power, I was like, well, when I get ready to come back, I can just slide on back, and then we'll just be able to do this. I've been able to make everything else work thus
Thinking
far.
you're the only prize.
Right, thinking
Yeah.
I was the only prize.
That's what we
Surely
do.
he'll miss
He'll miss
what he lost.
everything
Right.
that I'm bringing. Right? No, it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. So we had to work through that. And so we had to work through it. And it took some work. It took some self-reflection on my part. So there's nothing that these clients can come through the door and say, oh, you don't know what I've been through. Oh, yeah, we got you. Sit down, girl.
Right,
We
you ain't
got
talking
you.
about nothing.
But between the two of us, we've been through it all. So we got back together. It took 2.5 years.
What made him, what was the, girl, tell us what you did.
You know what? I think it was I stayed the course, right? I stayed the course, and I started to date him again, right? We started to be friends again. And I think eventually he woke up one day. I thought he was ready to just call it quits. So he called me up, and had fallen asleep we were separate, living in 2 separate houses. And he called me up, and he was saying, I think I'm ready. And I said, okay, well, I'll go ahead and get the paperwork started tomorrow. He was like, no, I'm ready to put our family back together and get back together. And
You
I
had,
shot up, and
you
I
had
was like,
surrendered.
yeah, it took him some time. So you got to be patient. You got to give him time. If it's worth the fight, just sit there and wait and be patient. Wow. Yeah.
I have so many questions.
We saw different people during that time and everything. I had a whole guy, and he had a whole girl, and everything.
So you said infidelity on both parts. 2 questions regarding that. The first, this was prior to the
separation.
Was one of those infidelity situations immediately prior to the separation? Like, was that
that wasn't
what blew it up?
No.
Girl, that wasn't even what blew it up. Oh my God. Okay.
No, I can get through that.
Okay.
No.
I can get through that. So that was my second question is going through all that you've been through today at this moment, your advice for am I still a newlywed? I'm in year 3. I'm still a newlywed. Let's just say
Yeah, I would say so.
or even just like a niece, right?
Yeah.
Somebody you care about.
Yeah.
You don't really know me. You know, if I'm your niece, right? You care about me.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's your advice on infidelity? Should that be a deal breaker?
So I think it depends,
Okay.
right? I think it depends. I think it's a conversation.
Okay.
So you need to be real with yourself and not be worried about what others will think about your marriage and your relationship. I think that every single marriage is very different, and your covenant is different. It's an agreement. Your agreement looks different. My agreement looks different from Kelly's agreement, right? And so I always give this analogy too in this example. If you look at a newly developed subdivision, every seventh house is usually the same, but what goes on the other side of that door is very different. So think about that, and think about what's going to make you happy in the end. And if you're going to accept that person back, are you going to fully respect them, trust them again, and really forgive them? Because you can't say, okay, I'll do it, and then continue to bring it up, because then that's not fair. So you're going to one or the other.
Should I cheat back?
I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't necessarily say cheat back, because I wouldn't necessarily say cheat back, because two wrongs don't make a right. You didn't like it done to you. And some people, I do have friends, and I do have colleagues that be like, I'm gonna get my lick back, I'm gonna get my lick back. But is that really gonna make you feel good?
But
if it's not in your
bad karma, girl. That's
if
what
it's not
I'm
even in your personality, though, it's
you're
not
not
going to
going
go well.
to.
If it's not, you're just like,
ain't
okay,
gonna feel good. You're not gonna feel good about it.
And then usually
No.
it spirals out of control, where it's something you can't even control anyway. So I think you have to stay true to your personality
And your own morals.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of times too with cheating and infidelity, a lot of times people do want to get back together, but it's more of what everybody else is going to think.
Correct.
Because I'm embarrassed now.
Exactly.
It is.
Everybody
right?
knows my business.
You have to be
'Cause you told
ready.
everybody,
Because you
right?
told
You
everybody.
called all
So
your
stop
girlfriends,
telling
girl,
stop
he did
telling
this,
your-
he did that.
Stop telling your business.
Right.
Stop telling your business, because what happens oftentimes is that you're going to forgive them, but your friends and family
They won't.
Right.
They won't. Yeah.
So what was it like supporting your friend through this process?
Well, it was a lot of prayer, and like I said, I was going through a divorce at the same time. But I have always been, his name is Trey, Team Trey. So even when she was like, you know what, he's not, because when she came and said he said he wasn't coming back, I was like, girl, how
She
can
was
he
mortified too.
I was like, how does he know who you are? But after they went through everything, and after she accepted that he wasn't coming back, I was like, you know what, I'm going to keep on praying. I actually fasted.
She did.
Wow.
I fasted. I said, no, I think you all need to try to work it out, and we're just going to ask God. You don't have the strength, but I'll fast for you.
Because I was like, I'm eating. Because he said he don't want this. I'm about to eat.
Somebody gonna want
We were
it.
fasting
Right.
together, and I was like, no, I'm not. I'm done. She's
I'm
like,
gonna
I'm gonna
eat.
keep
She
going.
bowed out.
You know what?
She was like, well, I'm not. I'm going to fast for you in your marriage. And I was like, well, you go right
Wow.
ahead, because I'm
Real
not going to
friends.
do it. Yeah.
Look.
You need friends around you that
You do.
support your relationship, because relationships and marriages have ups and downs. So sometimes, even though you don't like them, you need a friend to be like, but you know what? These are the great parts about him, though. It's worth
Or
it.
look at the big picture,
The
not
big picture.
the
Right,
moment you're in right
because,
now.
Because
Yeah.
you're stuck there. You're stuck in that place.
Yeah.
But when you look at the overall arching,
Listen, that could go
overview.
either way, though, because a friend could have been in your ear like, well, he don't know.
Oh, I had some friends in my ear. Oh, I had other friends in my
Who
ear.
you surround yourself
Yeah,
with
it is. It's
like,
so important.
It's so important
It's
to
so
every
important.
element of your life. Like if you hang around with 4 broke people, you're gonna be the 5th. Same thing
Yeah.
with your mindset, with your money, with your
Yeah,
relationships, your marriage,
exactly.
like everything.
I think
Definitely.
you should tier them. Right. So I have different friends. When I want to hear that I'm amazing and I can do anything and I can do this, I call
you
that.
got your yes women.
I do. Oh, I have my yes group, my yes cheerleaders, absolutely. And then when I want to hear the real deal, then when I want to hear the real deal and the honest truth, then I'm going to call this group over here.
Yeah.
Because that's what I need.
So, what's your current relationship status? Is there a ring on your finger?
Yeah, so I was a single mom, as I mentioned, for over 10 years. And so really dating and trying to find myself after, with 3 kids in tow. So it was a whole new life
What's
for
the
me.
age range?
Right now they're 18, 17, and 12. But
Okay.
my youngest was 2
Okay.
when I got divorced. So, I was trying to do all types of things, start a business, writing a book, doing everything. And so, yeah, dating with children is definitely a
Y'all
whole
really do
new
have all the
beast.
experience.
We do. We have
Nothing
it.
that people can tell us. And plus our clients have told us things for the last 10 years, so
Yeah.
you can only imagine. But yeah, dating and just, building my skills, building my confidence back up, having children and wondering, okay, would anybody even want me with 3 children? But I had to realize what type of man I was looking for. I was looking for a family-oriented. I was looking for someone who was fun, financially stable. I had all my things that I was looking for. And I was just patient. And like Tana, I slid in my ex's DM from college.
Wow.
Yes, and Facebook. I saw he came up like, the people you should know.
You like,
4
I
years
should
ago.
know him.
I was like, ooh,
I do
what
know
is he
him.
doing? And we've been dating ever since. We just got married 2 weeks ago.
Shut
Yeah.
up.
2 weeks ago. I was like,
Congratulations.
yes, thank you.
So you took yourself through the process that you're coaching your
Yes,
clients through.
I did.
So proof.
It
The
worked.
proof is in the pudding, okay?
It works.
Sis did it, okay?
Yes,
She got the
we did.
receipts
And her
and the
wedding was
results.
beautiful. It's on the
I
beach. We were
love
all
it.
there.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It was a 10-year process. So.
Wow. And that's the part that I think people are not willing to, not necessarily wait, because I don't think it's just waiting. I think that you can do yourself a disservice if you truly are just waiting.
Right.
Like you're not
Yeah.
working on yourself.
Yeah.
You're not doing any self-discovery.
To
You ain't
do it
going
in
to
tandem.
therapy.
Right.
You just sit,
Do it
like
in
you're
tandem.
literally, just
Yeah.
time is going by. I
Right.
think people don't understand the work in the wait.
It is.
It
It's the
is a
work.
lot of work,
Yeah.
yes. And as a relationship coach and a matchmaker, you can imagine. At first, I was like, "Let me just grab the next man that I date
just
and
need a man on my-
just on
like-
my arm,
like
just
a politician.
just to
I
give
just
me
need-
some
yeah,
credentials,
yeah, yeah.
But I was like, you know what? No, I'm good at what I do, and I'm going to go through the process myself, and I'm going to wait until I find the right person for me and my daughters.
Did you get any pushback?
Initially, I did from clients like, okay, are you all married? Nobody asks us now for whatever reason. I don't know if they see the confidence. I don't know what it is. But in the beginning, I was like, oh, God, are they going to ask me, am I single? Am I single? But I think that goes to women in general. You can't just push yourself to have somebody on your arm just because. A lot of times, our clients are, going to different galas and events, and they just need somebody.
Hire a date. Is that a thing?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
well.
is, in so many words. Yes, you can find a date if you need one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, but no, you have to take the time and find the right person.
And
You do.
work
Yeah.
on
Yeah,
Work on
yourself.
yourself. We can't
Yes.
stress that enough. It is
That's the
so
biggest-
important. If I didn't
It's the
go
hardest
through
part,
my
but it's the biggest part.
spiritual journey during that time, I wouldn't have evolved into the woman I am today for him and for myself. Right? And for
Even I
myself.
wrote in our book, someone had asked me after my divorce, like, Kelly, what do you like to do? And I was almost in tears. They didn't even know. Because I was so involved in this relationship and all of our,
Being the wife.
being the wife and putting up with all our ups and downs. My daughter is a cancer survivor.
Oh, okay.
So we were going through all types of things with finances and infidelity and all of that too. But after someone asked me, like, what do you like to do? I had no idea. So if you have no answer to what you like to do, how are you going to be on a date, even trying to convince someone,
Yeah.
hey, you need to spend time with me?
That part.
What are we going to do? When
What would make me
we're
want
home
to
and
spend time
Right.
with
Yes.
you? Boring
Yeah.
lady.
Exactly.
Yeah, like a boring book.
Right.
Yeah,
So I had to-
I'm closing it. I'm not picking it back
No.
up.
and I'm not coming back to
exactly.
it.
That part.
No,
Right.
we don't want to be a boring book.
So aside from just showing up with nothing to talk about, what are each of you share your number one, looking at camera, each of y'all. Single women, stop doing this. What is that one thing that you're just please stop?
Yeah. So single women, stop talking about your career. Stop talking about it because he doesn't care about it. He has his own money. He has his own career. Stop talking about yours. Find something else to engage in, like fun things, your hobbies, your travel stories, what makes you tick, all of those things. That's important.
Yeah, and single women, don't be afraid to give feedback.
Yeah.
When you are on a date, it's okay to say, you are so handsome, or I'm enjoying myself.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see you again. Or if they text you, to say, you know what, seeing your face on my phone, it makes my day. It just makes my heart smile. It's okay to give feedback because that's giving him enough momentum to say, ooh, let me call her back again because
Yeah.
she's feeling me, I'm feeling her, and you're giving, what you need to contribute to the momentum of moving the relationship forward.
And it's not being aggressive. So there's a difference between being thirsty and being aggressive. What you're, there's different. That you're not being thirsty, you're showing interest is what you're doing. And that's what he needs to see.
Yes. What's your advice on sex?
Oh, I'm a sex guru.
Sex
Are
and
you?
dating.
I am.
Tell me what that
absolutely.
means, sex guru.
So, I am a sex coach and intimacy coach, and so I promote it. I'm sex positive. I think it's very healthy. I think it's very healthy in relationships. I think it's very healthy to talk about it, and we don't in our culture, in our community. I'm an advocate for helping couples with sex. I mean, because a lot of times, certain times of your marriage, there are sexless marriages. They don't
That's the
talk
thing.
about
I didn't
it.
even know that was a thing.
Yeah, it's
Many.
a whole thing. It's a whole thing, especially when you've been married a certain period of time, and then age, sex, and aging. It's a thing.
What's your advice on that? What do you do?
For
just
what?
keep having sex. Like you just keep doing
Sometimes
it.
you can't. Sometimes you can't, but it's a mental mindset. So I think the first thing that I would recommend is let's have the conversation. Let's have the tough talk.
That is a tough talk.
It's a tough talk. Let's talk. Let's have the tough talk first, and then you can go through the process after the tough talk.
Yeah, and I think too for sex and dating, I think culturally, like we're going back to our moms and grandmothers, and sit up straight, close your legs, and so it's almost like you're afraid to even be a sexual woman, like a sexual being.
But so devil's advocate, there's gotta be some type of boundaries.
Yes.
Or no?
Well,
Or you just like busting it open?
Oh no.
First date. If
no.
I'm your client, and I still want to get to the process of how you're hooking people up. Like, how is that process working? But you hook me up, however you do that. I come back and I say, oops, couldn't keep my legs together. Are you like, girl, good for you? Like, how do you work me through this?
Yeah, I think it's on a case-by-case basis because usually we say at least get to know each other and leave the sex for later because now you've made this, physical investment in each other and now you're in love. The woman's in love and the man's just like, I'm still figuring it out, So I think we say to wait, but there have been many clients that just couldn't wait, and it just depends on where they go from there.
That part. How do you pick up the pieces after?
Are you going to be friend zone? Now you're friends with benefits where he just calls you when he wants something, or are you still being dated?
Yeah.
And if you're not requiring him to date you at that point and you're dating him, then you're probably just going to be called at night when the sun has gone down and nobody's there.
Yeah, and he's not dating you in the sunlight. So I think that, also, I wouldn't recommend, sex on the first date because, again, you don't know each other well enough to do that because once it's going to change the dynamic of the relationship. It is. It's inevitable. It's inevitable. It's going to change the dynamic of the relationship. Now, if you want a partner just so you can sleep with, just to, get it out, whatever it is, then that's one thing. That's a choice. But the person that you're
marriage,
dating with the intention of marriage, no. So just take your time, get to know that person, and then you bring the intimacy in when it's your time, and it's not for everybody right away. Yeah.
So your process, because there's somebody out there watching that's like, ooh, okay, God, is this my sign that I need to go on and hire me a matchmaker? What is how do you all match people? Like, what does your process look like?
Yeah, so usually people find us. We've never paid for advertising, so people find us, which is we like it that way. So they find us, and then we'll start with a consultation. So that's usually an hour to find out if we're even a good fit to work together. So we don't even take everyone, and everybody may not hire us, which is fine. From there, we do coaching. So matchmaking for us is a little bit different because we require coaching with every client.
It's like premarital counseling before you get married.
Yeah, we want you to be confident in dating. So, we can send you on a date tomorrow, but are you doing the same thing?
Date
We're all
differently.
wasting time, right? So we've been in this space for over 10 years. And then really just we have recruiters that go out for us. So they may go to golfing events. They're socialites.
Looking for singles?
Yes, bring them back to
Can I
us.
be a recruiter?
We would love for you to be a recruiter.
Girl, I will get out in these streets, baby.
We would love for you to be a recruiter.
If you're already social.
If you're already out there anyway.
I love this space because it's
so necessary.
The family thing is so important. Like for real.
It
I
is.
don't want the responsibility of matching people.
Yeah,
but I want to be a part of the process.
It's a huge responsibility.
It is.
But so you would be one of our love liaisons is what we call them. Yeah, and you're out there anyway. You're meeting people anyway, and you're talking to people anyway.
That.
So you would just meet them.
So you're getting a pool together.
Yeah, just getting a pool, and then you bring them. Put them in our database, and then we screen everyone. Though Kelly and I would do the screening process for that particular client. But yeah, just bring them in.
Wow. We're also, we work with other matchmakers all across the country. We have built our own database, so people who see this will join our database.
So
we invite them to do that for free.
Are you sending people out on dates? Are you doing like in-house events? Like, what is the actual matching part?
So the matching part just depends. So if they're a matchmaking client, we're actually arranging the date.
Okay.
So we're arranging the date. We are doing pre and post date calls where we're, coaching them before and after. So we're giving them feedback. But you're not in their ear
like, Hitch, I want to do that so
We've
bad.
Done that
we've done that too.
That
We've done that. It's
We've
cute,
been wing women. We've gone out. We've had clients fly in, and we are wing women
for a VIP day.
Wow.
And we've done that.
Let me really see what you are doing. Let me really see what you're doing.
Yeah, because sometimes
when you come back for this report.
And they want to learn through you, and so we'll have them in the office the whole day, and then we'll take them out that night, and and just spend them. But so we set set the date up, and then we hold their hand through the entire dating process, which is very nice to be able to have some support as you're dating, because sometimes during this process you may hit a bump in the road and you're like, oh, I don't know how to navigate
or
this.
What should I say?
Right, exactly. But you have two people kind of holding your hand and walking you through this dating process that's very different from what you're used to doing.
Yeah.
So it's a recipe for success.
Okay, last thing. What do you think is, over the successes that you've had over the years, like women who have whatever the top of the mountain is, whether it's marriage, a commitment, whatever, what can you say has been the common denominator? Or is there one, like that one thing that once you make this shift, you can do it? Is it changing your type? Is it changing something in your appearance? Is it just a boost of confidence? Like, is there a common denominator you could pinpoint? Like, when she does this, it's game time.
I'm thinking it's so many different things. I don't know that it's one thing. I think it's so many different things. I think you just have to be willing to be open and to do things differently.
Just trying something
different. Well, I think too, the pattern that I've seen for clients that are successful is them coming to us and understanding before we even get there that, love is not an exact science, it's a journey. So if you're okay with going on a journey and not saying, hey, I want to go from this and I want to get a bachelor's degree, I want to do this is going to be a journey. We're all holding hands, we're all jumping in, and we're just going to see it's going to be fun. We're going to see who you can meet. We're going to
make it a fun experience.
Yeah, have some fun dates. You're going to just see what you like about this person, what you don't, and then you're just going to keep on building your skills, and then before you know it, you're going to be in a relationship.
Because it's a numbers game, really, right? You need to practice.
We don't want to kiss those frogs.
Listen, it may not happen overnight. It may not happen.
It is not going to happen overnight.
Now, we've had a few one and dones, right?
Really?
Oh, absolutely. We've had a few one and dones. Yeah, we've had about maybe 4 or 5 over the years when it's just the first person we've introduced them to. They're in an exclusive relationship and or married.
Right.
Yeah, but that doesn't happen often, so we don't want the ladies to get an unrealistic expectation.
It's like dating more confidently.
Yeah, it is.
But we can't make a man propose to you either.
No, because we can't control chemistry. We can control compatibility, but not chemistry.
Yeah.
I think, so my answer, what I've seen over the years and what my personal experience was when I took the pressure out of it.
Yeah.
When it wasn't like every man
pressure.
that comes to this date has to be my husband.
Right.
Yes.
I was just like, I'm going to go new places. I'm going to meet new people. I'm going to try new restaurants. I'm going to learn something new about myself. I'm just going to have
pressure
fun.
on.
Right.
I'm just
have
going to
a good time. We can't say that enough. I mean, it's so funny that even just having girlfriends come back and tell you about their date, they're already thinking, well, girl, he lives over here. I don't know if I can live there. You had one date.
Right.
You have one date. Why are you over there like, well, I don't know if this is going to work.
His last name don't sound good with my first name.
Exactly. They're already putting the last name. I mean, stop it.
Please
like,
relax.
enjoy the ride.
Also,
he does. He feels
enjoy
every
the
bit of it.
ride.
Yes.
Enjoy the ride.
And talk to people that are not specifically your type. Just have a conversation. Like, even if you're a lot of times they're like, okay, well, I wasn't attracted to him. Are you attracted to the fact that he calls you on time, that he shows up,
that
he treats you well?
Yes.
Does that factor in at all? So just have a conversation with people that are not only your type, and you'll be surprised.
Yeah.
You'll be surprised.
Step outside of the box.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So for people who are interested in your services, in your academy, in your coaching, please let them know where they can find you online. And we'll make sure we put this all in the description below.
Great. Well, our website is thematchmakingduo.com, and all things social media is The Matchmaking Duo.
Yes.
And my personal Instagram is Tana C. Gilmore.
Okay.
Yes, and mine is Kelly K. Fisher, and also the Savvy Solo Parent. So I am advocating for solo parents since I've lived this life. So I'm starting a new movement to actually support professional solo parents.
I have to say, I love solo parent. That sounds...
Yeah, it's awesome, right?
So much better.
Yes.
Awesome.
Then I'm a single mom. I'm here with this. That's like I'm attaching myself to the struggle. Solo parent is like, this is my experience, but I'm going to make the most of it.
I'm the solo parent cheerleader.
Yeah.
I love it.
Great. Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
On your wedding, on all
everything. All the great stuff.
2 weeks in, right?
2 weeks in. Congratulations on your
you.
21 years in and all of the success that y'all are having.
Thank you
so
for all that you're doing.
excited.
It's such a great platform.
These women need men. Okay,
Yes.
And I think that these couples, need support too. They really do. Once they get into a relationship, they don't know what to do with them.
That's
So
the village. The
Yeah,
village
they
is
do.
for
They
more
need-
than just
yeah.
the kids. The
They
village
need it.
is for the community. We
Yes.
truly need it. And I think that these conversations are like the first part. So hopefully y'all have gotten a lot out of this conversation. If you want me to bring these ladies back, which I No, y'all probably do. Let me know down in the comments what you've learned and what you want to talk about next time. I truly appreciate you for tuning in. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and be sure to follow the Matchmaking Duo everywhere in these internet streets and log on to the matchmakingduo.com. And be on the lookout because I'm going to be a love liaison, y'all.
Yay!
Thank
We're
you
here
for
for
tuning
it.
in, and I'll see you on the next episode. If you enjoyed that episode, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any upcoming content. And take it a step further and go ahead and join our private community over on Patreon because it comes with some pretty bomb perks, including early and discounted access to our upcoming events, behind-the-scene exclusives with some of your favorite guests, the opportunity to call in on an upcoming show, the chance to vote on topics and guests for brand new shows, and I'm even giving you unlimited access to my vault of business classes where I'm teaching you everything from Airbnb to developing digital products and everything in between. And you can get access to our Patreon for as little as $5 a month, okay? Get in where you fit in, and I'll see you on the inside.